rhythm. And I was writing just these people I was finding. It was, they were just like you and I, and they had an idea and a vision for a company, and then they went for it. And they were multimillionaires, billionaires, but they were also very successful, business people. You don't have to be a millionaire to be successful. So I wanted to put them all together. In fact, I had a lot of people that were talking to me, and they said, why don't you put them into a book? So I thought it would be so simple because the columns had been written. Well, my goodness, I had to go back and re-interview everybody, and then I had to expand them from 150 words to 5 or 6 pages. So it was quite the undertaking, but I was so glad that I did it. We launched November 2013, and we immediately zoomed to #1 on the Amazon.com bestseller list in business books, and I was so pleased. And in fact, we held that position for 3 straight days, and it was such a heady ride. And I realized that, there was a thirst for this kind of knowledge. So what we're talking about tonight is media and PR. Once you have those companies, what do you do with them? How do you get your name out there? Maybe you don't have large advertising budgets. Maybe you have no advertising budget at all. I wanted to show people, with the book, that people just like you and I, who had an idea, who didn't come from much. There were a couple of people that started with less than $10 in their pocket, that these people could go on and with this vision. And I wanted to show people in the book what it was that they could do to further their business and their visions. So that's the incredibility factor. I also invited an entrepreneurship teacher and also an entrepreneur himself, Terry Beach. He teaches the art of entrepreneurship out at UBC and Simon Fraser University out in Vancouver. He's an incredible young man. I interviewed him actually for the column, and finally I said, it's great with all these stories of inspiration, but we need some tools and tips. So Terry did 3 chapters at the end of the book, just to give you some ideas about, what people would need to know if they were starting a company, or maybe they could pick up some hints if they've been going for a while now. And this way you just know that everything is done, your I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and, or maybe there's some ideas in there. So that's the book. So now, Carolyn, we've got the book. Now we've got to go on to the media. How do you get your name out there?
Yeah, and definitely that's really important, because I know even as myself, being an entrepreneur and starting a company that does events, the one thing that we want to do is get to the media, get people hearing who we are, finding out what we're all about. So now that we're there, we want to talk about how do you get into the newsroom and how does it actually work?
It's not enough these days to own a company, to have a great product or service. Maybe it is an amazing invention. It's not enough. The media tends to get their knickers in a knot if you come at them and say, this is my company and I want to talk about it. First thing they're going to turn around and say, here's our advertising rate card. You can buy a commercial or you can buy space in our magazine or newspaper. What you have to do is get creative, and you have to come up with a media hook. So that's what I've been showing people what to do, is to talk about media hooks and how to get yourself in front of the, in front of the right people in the newsroom. Before we get to media hook, I want to talk to you a little bit about the various players in the newsrooms. It differs. If you're talking about radio, television, magazine, newspaper, it all differs. So if you're taking notes tonight and you want to know, I'm going to zoom through these titles, but at the end, I'm going to tell you which one it is that you need to contact for each particular media outlet. So in the case of a television newsroom, the big dude that's in charge of everything is, there's various GMs and that sort of thing, but the TV structure is executive producer, then numerous producers, there's a lot of them, assignment editor, then your anchor and reporter, and your writers. So the person that you want to contact in a television newsroom, when you call them up, is the assignment editor. In a radio newsroom, the positions are more or less the same, but they have different names. So the radio power structure works like this. You've got, of course, all of your executives that are off in their beautiful palatial offices. And then in the trenches, as we called it, when I worked at 680 News, and that was for 7, 8 years I was with them, and then 660 News out in Calgary, I helped start them. So, you know, and then I've been on CHR, no, wait a minute, 1010, 640. So I've had a chance to take a look at a lot of radio places. The news director is the big dog. Then you've got your editor and your lineup editor. You've got news readers, reporters, and writers. The person that you want to talk to, unfortunately in radio, they're not as clear-cut as television. So when you call in, and I did call in for something today to a radio station, I called them and I asked them, who was lining up your show today? So that usually is the editor or lineup editor. So that's the person that you're going to call into at radio, and just ask that question, because sometimes they will have an assignment editor, but even for a news operation, like let's say 680 News, that's 24/7 news, it's still the editor and lineup editor that is making the decisions in the radio newsroom. In the newspaper newsroom, you have the power structure goes news editor, photo editor, and these two positions have exactly the same amount of power. So a news editor will decide on the news stories and the nitty-gritty, but the photo editor, which has the same amount of power in the newspaper power structure, the photo editor is one that maybe there's an event going on where, you know, it's fall and there's the pumpkin patch and there's corn stalks and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes the pictures talk for themselves. Now, saying that, you're not going to want to call up a newspaper and ask for the photo editor. Usually all the decisions are made by the news editor. So how the power structure works in newspaper is news editor, photo editor, reporters, and writers. You would ask to speak to the news editor or city desk. So that's the ones that you want to write down, news editor or city desk, and you're going to want to ask them to, you know, you say, you know, I've got a story I'd like to tell you about, and then the photo editor also gets the same press release, and they will decide where to send their cameras. The magazine power structure has many titles on top. There's the editor-in-chief, the assistant to the editor-in-chief, there's an art director, executive director, features director, and then 900 other editors. No, it sounds confusing, but the magazine world makes it very, very easy for you to find a story, because you never, ever want to bother the editor-in-chief. They'll get angry at you if you call them, or even the assistant. The person that you want to talk to is the magazine, in the magazine world, is the features editor or director. Now, how do you find these people? It's really easy. On the very front cover, so you got the front cover, and then you turn in. It depends on the structure of the newspaper, but sometimes you can find it within the first 3 or 4 pages. It's usually on the back of the table of contents, and you will see their entire list of editors. So whatever good fit there is for your company, product, service, that's who you want to target. A lot of you will target lifestyle. Some of you may target their food editor or features editor. It's those editors that you want to target. Now, how do you find them?
That's a great question, because I'd like to know how to find them.
Exactly. Before I go in to tell you how to find them, are there any questions that you may have, Carolyn? I think everybody else may be muted, but maybe they've been emailing you. Who knows? Are there any questions about the power structures within the various media platforms that I've told you about?
So guys, if you have a question, what you need to do is click the hand and put your hand up, and I can unmute you and you can ask the question to Teresa. Or you can also send me, if you don't want to do it yourself, you can send me a question, and then I can ask it on your behalf. Is there any questions at this time?
What a great system, Carolyn. I really love that. That's great.
I know. I can see everybody. I see who's on. I know who came on at what time. I can see their questions and when their hands go up. So it's actually it's a phenomenal system, because it allows me really to create, oh, we have a question. It's about TV and TV stations. So Ash, I'm going to unmute you so that you can have your question directly to Teresa. Ash, you're unmuted. What's your question, hon? Can you hear us, Ash? Ash?
Maybe the best way, Carolyn, would be for Ash to send you an email.
I'm going to look down here because he's put TV, oh, where'd he go? Oh no, TV stations, I'm on mute. Okay, well I just unmuted you, so let me try this again.
Is Ash unmuted?
Yep, he is now. Ash, you're unmuted. Can you hear us? I'm surprised actually because he is unmuted. Listening.
Hey, can you hear me?
There you are.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead and ask your question.
Carolyn, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ash. You're unmuted.
Okay, good. Yeah, I know. I just wondering, you know, with the TV structure, because I got where you contact people in the newspaper business or in the magazine industry, in the radio stations as well. But say I noticed there's people that come into town that get on breakfast television, you know, with and maybe some other TV shows. How do you go about approaching that, and how do you hook someone to get you on those TV shows?
Sure, Ash. It's the assignment editor that you want to contact, and with even with the talk shows, all of them that are out there, they usually run with an assignment editor. And let's say you were to call them up and you were to say, I'd like to pitch myself, or I'd like to pitch an idea to you for your particular morning show or your talk show. Who's in charge of that? That's always a good question. Who's in charge of that? Or you would say, could I speak to the assignment editor? And if you're met with dumb silence, then just say, who is it that takes in story pitches, and who can I talk to, please? So that's usually the best way to start. I think your question has got real good merit for at the end when we talk about how best to approach the various you know, like a talk show and all the rest. What I want to work through right now with Carolyn is, and with all of you folks, I want to work through like in a certain way so that we build it out so at the end you will see how it all fits in. So Ash, hang tight on the second part of that question about how you pitch to a talk show. And let's, if I don't remember at the end because I'm going 900 miles an hour, I want to make sure I give you guys as many takeaways as I can. Make sure that you ask that question at the end. So how do you get in touch with everybody, right, Carolyn?
That's right, and that's what we need to do. How do we get into those people? How do we get in touch with them?
Okay. What you need to do, the wonderful world of the web is amazing. Sometimes they like to hide, though. Okay, going to television, sometimes you will find that, like, for instance, Canada AM is under CTV's umbrella. So you'll go onto the CTV website, or maybe you've Googled Canada AM or whatever. It's not showing up. For some of these TV stations, and TV makes it the hardest, toggle right down. So just pull the screen as far down as you can, and sometimes at the very bottom you will see small little white letters that say Contact Us. It's really funny. I don't know why TV tries to dissuade people from contacting them when they are hungry for so much information. So what you want to do is just toggle all the way down there, Contact Us. It's just the way it is. If there's nothing there, I have had great luck with just going into Google and typing Canada AM telephone number. You'd be shocked what you get. When I went across Canada recently and did my cross-Canada speaking tour for the Incredibility Factor, I got media in every city that I went to, but sometimes, like for instance, when I was in Vancouver, I wanted to get on their morning show, and so I typed in, which one was I on? CTV. So I typed in CTV Vancouver, and I was immediately brought to the main site for all of CTV's entire universe in Canada. And I didn't want that. So that's when Google really came in handy. And I typed in CTV Vancouver, and their show is called Morning Live. Morning Live telephone. And my gosh, the number popped up for me. Now, I'm going off the top of my head. If that doesn't show up for you folks, that's okay. I apologize. I'm just telling you, when I've been to these cities, I have been able to get a hold of them. And I don't have any more power or tools than you folks do. I'm going to give you a little number here, so you might want to get those pens ready. This one is a wonderful number to have, 416-332-3700. 5000. So 416-332-5000. That's the number to the main switchboard for CTV. That number will get you to CTV National News, Canada AM, CTV Toronto, CP24, TSN, all of their media properties, and it's very simple to find out who owns what by going onto the internet and just Googling CTV media properties, and then it will tell you what they have. So that's a really great number. It's one-stop shopping, and it's a number that I'd like to share with you tonight. So that's how you find them. Google's very valuable. Their websites are very valuable. When you get onto the radio stations, their numbers are right there. You'll go through the main switchboard, and you'll talk to this very helpful person. Just ask for the newsroom, and then ask for just explain to whoever answers that phone that you've got a story that you'd like to pitch them. In the world of newspaper, oh, they make it so simple for you. So simple. If you go on to a newspaper website, find the words "Contact Us" either on the upper navigation bar or lower navigation bar. They have a plethora of different positions, so you will find everybody from the big dog in the newsroom to the photo editor to the city desk to the features editors to the life and style section to sports. You'll find them all. They have their telephone numbers and their emails. It's like one-stop shopping. Amazing. So that's your newspaper. Magazine, once again, it's easy. You can find their name, and then try calling the main switchboard for whatever magazine that you're trying to get to. Now, I'm going to be telling you the language to use later on. I'm going to be telling you, as Ash said, how do we get ourselves on certain shows. So let's move along. So, Carolyn, let's show them the media hook slide. And I want to talk to you about media hooks tonight because, as I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, just having a company, a product, or service is not enough because they get mad. It's just like, you know what, we have advertising here on our station, so you get a hold of our commercial department and you buy something. So when we get creative, is what we try to do is to find a creative hook. Let me let you in on a huge secret. And it's not really a secret, but it makes sense. The media, I'm going to validate this, the media is looking for experts. So take a look at your business right now. What are you an expert in? And I want you to ask yourself this question. How can I help? If you sit down with a blank page in front of you on your computer, or if you still like to put the pen to paper, as we all do sometimes, stare at that, write the words, how can I help on the top, and then go through on your businesses and figure out how you can help somebody out there. This is the beginning of your media hook. So what you want to do is to take a look at so some will be experts, some will be, maybe the product is amazing. There's definite ways that we can position that, come up with a media campaign. I teach this, but it's quite a process. It really is. And what I suggested to Carolyn tonight is once I get through everything that I want to talk to you about, we're going to run a little contest for everybody that's here tonight. And we're going to pick a number, and we're going to come up with someone, and we are going to find your media hook. And don't feel bad if you're not picked. You will be able to apply all the principles that I do with this person to your particular company, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to see or start to realize, maybe it'll come to you the next couple of days, what your media hook is. Now, media hooks can be the expert angle. They can be maybe an amazing product or service, but we find a very creative way of pitching that to the media. There is also another angle, and that's the charitable angle. And this one I never really liked. I have spent a lot of money on personal development, business development. I've gone to courses around North America. I went to a mastermind strategy session down in Los Angeles about 2 years ago. There were two business gurus there. There was an amazing man by the name of Ken Cragen. Ken Cragen is at the end of his career now, but he was a very famous Hollywood agent that worked with a lot of music stars, Kenny Rogers, Trisha Yearwood. Back then, it was the big thing. And if you, Carolyn, and I'll just put it out there because I know you're unmuted. Do you remember the song "We Are the World"?
Yes.
So that was the one with Michael Jackson and all the major music stars of the 80s. So we are the world, you know. So anyway, he got them all together. It was Ken Cragen who spearheaded that. And he raised money for poverty in Africa, but also in the U.S. And then the next year he did Hands Across America, and he raised money for poverty as well. So here's a man that was trying to get his artists out there, but he attached himself to a charity. And he stood up in a room of maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people, and I was one of them. And he was just spellbinding. This man's knowledge was fabulous. And that's when he said, and everything you do, you attach yourself to a charity. Now, I am very involved with the Canadian Centre for Abuse Awareness. I'm involved with the Canadian Cancer Society, Princess Margaret Hospital. I always believed that as charities, we should be giving from our heart, free of will. We should never expect anything back. If you're giving something for charity, it just should be enough, and never go in there going, what's in it for me? It flew in the face of everything that I held dear in my heart. So I'm listening to this guru, and I'm going, really? And he was talking about, you know, you should attach yourself to a charity and blah, blah, blah. So I bought his mastermind strategy session for 5 figures. Thank you very much. I flew down there. It was well worth it, really, really well worth it. I got a lot out of it. And I had a chance to look him in the face. I had a one-on-one with him. You know, we had these group sessions. There was 15 of us there for this strategy session. We went through all of that. They examined our businesses up and down. They gave us helpful suggestions. And then I managed to corner him, well, not corner him. You know, we had a couple of breaks, and everybody was sliding over to talk to Ken because everybody wanted to, and finally it was my turn. And I asked him about the charity angle, and he said, think about it, Teresa. He said it's a win-win for everyone, because you can get the name of your charity out there that you have attached yourself to, but you're also getting yourself out there. So this is going to become clear as we work our way through the press releases, because I brought you some examples of the charity angle. So we've talked about the hook, and those are your 2 hooks, 3 hooks: experts, products and services, and then number 3, the charity angle. So let's take a look at what it takes to write a successful press release. I've got my 5-2 formula. Carolyn, have you got that one handy? Perfect. So our 5-2 formula is basically, we learned this in school. Answer the 5 W's of who, what, where, when, and why, and do 2 quotes, and you've got your press release. So who, if you're doing an event, you would say who the people are that are putting that event together are, or maybe you've got people coming to that event. What, you would tell them what it is, where and when, time, date, all the rest, and why. Why do you want to do this? What are they going to do? And 2 quotes. Then you start putting it together, and I'm going to show you the proper way to put together a press release. I'm just going to leave this slide up here so far. And you know what? I think now would be a good time, Carolyn. Let's just ask for any questions of what we have talked about so far.
So yeah, that's a great idea.
Carolyn, did you have any questions?
I'm just taking vigorous notes as you're speaking and writing. Absolutely, even though I'm recording this, I'm taking notes of every point that you make, because this is really exciting to really watch this formulate, especially when we get into the press release, because, you know, for myself, and I know some people on the phone, we have to write that. So does anyone else have any questions at this time in regards to what Teresa's been talking about? You can put your hand up, or you can also send me a question. I'll give you a second to either do that. Exciting and strategic information. Thanks, Ash. Ash is giving us a comment on how exciting and strategic this information is. Is there a question in that, my dear? Will this be recorded? Yes, I am recording all of this information, and then it will be put live on my website so that you can review it later and make additional notes, because I know Teresa is a phenomenal speaker and speaks quite quickly. So, and that's great, because we've got so much information we want to cover tonight. So after that, we don't have any questions at this time, so let's move things forward so that we can get as much as we can in, because Teresa, we really want to get all we can from you.
You betcha. So let's move along. Am I speaking too quickly, Carolyn?
No, you just have so much information, so it's not too quick, but you know, when you're trying to write it all down, and
I know.
understand what you're talking about and still listen. It's really great that we have the recording to go back to. So if there's any
Okay,
aspects we didn't understand, we can review as well.
perfect. All right, let's move on. What does a proper press release look like? Okay, Carolyn, let's put up my example. Now, we made it large, so actually what you were about to see is you're going to see 2 pages, but really it should only be 1. You can leave it here for now, Carolyn. For 30 years, the standard protocol was to give a press release on one 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper. And that's the way it used to be in the days of mail, then fax. Now we are email and scans and things like that. I talked to a number of my assignment editors not too long ago. I still know quite a few within the industry. And I asked them, is it still the standard rule 1-page press release? And I got varied answers from them. Here is the bottom line. They are now taking press releases that can be anywhere from 1 to 3 pages long. But if you do that, make sure that you have answered, you've done the 5-2 formula on the first page, and then the page 2 and page 3 are more quotes and additional information. On the press releases, I have to tell you about what's gone on in the business, and I'm sure anybody that's news savvy knows what's going on down there. In the media, there have been job cuts in the extreme. It's been really rough out there. There's a lot of people that are still working in the news business that are really struggling because, you know, what used to be a great job that they loved, they are now doing 2 and 3 jobs. Their hours have expanded. We call it feed the beast, especially when you work at a news channel 24/7. So news channel like 680 News, CP24, even at the news stations, like you take a look at City TV, or for actually a better example is CTV Toronto, which used to be CFTO. They've got, well, Canada AM serves as their morning show, and then they've got the noon news, the 6 o'clock news, and the 11 o'clock news. So they are basically go, go, go. And the big saying in the biz is feed the beast, feed the beast. So I found out that they are actually cutting and pasting, copying and pasting from your press releases right into their news script. If it is written well and it's newsworthy or interesting, if it's done that way, they are going to copy and paste right into their newscasts. And, you know, at first you may recoil in horror because that's plagiarism. If you send a press release out, it becomes a matter of public record, so therefore anybody can use it. And so it's not plagiarism. Number 2, if you do this, it's really good because suddenly you're getting your story told the way you want it, rather than feeding it to a reporter, crossing your fingers and your toes and hoping that they really got what you were trying to tell them. And when they get it to the station, that they actually got it enough to put it together enough that it's actually giving your message. Or maybe on the radio you did an interview and then the reporter went away with it. Or the newspaper reporters. Oh my goodness, I've given interviews before on various things, and I've looked at the newspaper articles and I've gone, really? So if they are copying and pasting, it's a good thing. So the page 2 and 3 can be sources of good info for them. Is it needed? No. Because if they like your story enough, they'll put somebody on it. It's okay. A couple quick questions on the phone, get some more info from you, and then they'll go away and they'll write the story, or they'll send a camera out to visit you or whatever. So your press release, there's a standard formula. So in capital letters, as you're seeing on the screen right now, for immediate release. That's just standard protocol. Put it there just because it should be there, okay? Then you want a really kick-butt headline, because this is what's going to grab the assignment editor. They get 500 to 600 press releases a day. It's pretty thick. And I used to sit beside a lot of them in the days of the fax, so there'd be a sheet of papers at like 8:30 in the morning, and I would see them start to go through. And a lot of them went in the garbage can. Now it's the delete button that's your enemy. So what you want to do is to make sure that that headline is really solid and strong, and you want to put a sub-headline. You can do that as well. You can put your contact info right up at the top, or you can put it at the bottom. In this particular one, I had my reasons at this time for this event that I actually put it at the top. You want to tell them which city it is. So it's Toronto, O-N for Ontario. The first opening line of what it is. Then you want to tell them who, what, where, and why. And then you want to throw in your quotes. Carolyn, go ahead and switch over to the next slide, if you would. This one, it was all on one page. So it was, if you'll notice, under Bob Proctor and then John Gray and then Schreider and Wood, there was one final sentence there. And then the big dude, Bob Proctor, we put out there that he would be available for interviews. This is how you contact us. So the name, the telephone number, and the email. At the bottom, and I don't know whether or not you can see it, but some people have asked me, there's usually a hashtag, a 30, and a hashtag. So that's the number sign, 30 number sign. Is that necessarily? No, it's from the old school, just like for immediate releases. If you want to put it there, great. If you don't want to, that's fine. For immediate release, I would put it there just so it's the first thing everybody sees, and they go, oh, immediate release, oh, press release. So keep that one there, but don't worry about the number sign, 30 number sign, okay? On the bottom, you don't have to. But if you want to put it in, go ahead. So that's a press release. One page, you can do the 2 and 3 pages. I'm going to open it up for questions right now because, like Carolyn said, I'm doing a lot of info here. So just talk to me if you have any questions. Carolyn, do you see anything?
Not yet. I'll give everybody a second, but I do have a question. So,
yes, please.
You know, I'm looking at your press release and it looks phenomenal. And writing is not my forte, even though I do it. I do have someone who reviews my stuff. Now, is there people out there, and who would you recommend, if we wanted a press release written for us, who would we approach? Because there's so many people out there that say they write press releases, but they're not necessarily qualified or talented or really know what they're doing in which to write them.
That's a very good question, because if you're going to spend money, you want to make sure that everything is there. I have taken a look at some of the most I have taken a look at some of the most dismal press releases that I have ever seen in my life, and people paid hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for them. They're a mess. They are overly wordy. I have never seen anything like it. You know, Carolyn, I wish I could tell you who to go to. I can't, because that's, you know, I come from the media, so I know what we're looking for. I have started to counsel people. I teach workshops. So we go into it more depth, and we find your media hook and all the rest of it, and I give you more stuff on the press releases. People have been after me for the last couple of years if I would put forward a rate card, and it's something that I've really not wanted to do. But if people would like to reach out to me, maybe I can find some resources for them, or if it depends on my schedule, because I'm starting to travel again in the next couple of months with my book tour. But if people reach out to me, I'm pretty sure we can figure out something that's going to help. Does that help you, Carolyn?
It does, and I do have another question then. But as you guys can notice, too, on the left-hand side, there's Teresa's email, her website, her Twitter, and her Facebook information that you can copy down and contact her in any of those methodologies. She's also been nice enough to give her email to everybody, so you can contact her directly. But Teresa, let me turn that question around a little bit then. So if we were to look for someone to write a press release, what questions should we be asking to identify if they know what they're talking about?
Okay, say that again. I'm sorry. I've got.
So if I'm going to interview someone who is going to write a press release for me,
okay, yep.
Are there particular questions that we could ask to help us identify if this person knows what they're talking about?
That's a good one. I would interview them on the phone, just so you can get a feel of their experience. Anybody that has got media experience will know what to do. I would try to find somebody that, like a PR firm, with somebody that actually has credentials, and then check out those credentials. And that's very easy to do these days of Google. So I would check it. I would check it out on the search engines, and then you need to discuss Media Hook. And if they are not going to discuss Media Hook with you, do not spend a penny. Does that make sense?
That's a fabulous point. That's really great for us to know because, you know, as novices and trying to get into the media and have a press release, to know to ask that question if they don't know how to answer it or refuse to talk about it, that we should move on, that's amazing information. Anybody else have any questions before we move on from this point? I'm looking for you to raise your hand, or you can send me a question. If you look at the right-hand side, you can actually type me in a question, which Ash has been wonderful, and he's excited. He's like, wow, lots of great stuff here. He's sending me lots of little notes here. So I don't see any hands, so let's
carry on. Yeah, there was a couple of things that I just wanted to mention before we go on to our little contest where we work on our Media Hook. Once you're done your press release, you send it out. So you are going to you will contact the media people. I showed you how to find them. You will make your pitch to them, and then you will follow up. So it's not enough to send out a press release. You must follow up. So the way I look at it is like you take a look at this. Carolyn, if you would, pop back to the slide just before this, the beginning of the press release. So when this big event was happening, they wanted to sell tickets, but I told them that the event wouldn't necessarily sell tickets. You could maybe pick out Bob Proctor. So we tried it with this press release. Now they wanted to send their press release out 2 months in advance. Don't do it. If you've got an event coming up, I'm sorry, they're not going to help you sell tickets except at the very last minute. You'd be lucky to get anything a week before. In fact, you may as well go buy yourself a lottery ticket if the media ever bit and did something a week before an event for you. It's not going to happen. But I have seen it. But anyway, the chances are of it happening are very slim. So usually, okay, so the heart of success was on November the 18th of 2012, back up by about 4 or 5 days, but don't count the Saturday and Sunday. So ideal for 5 days or so, or if you want a week, because usually event organizers are chewing their fingers down to nubs at that point anyway. So go after them 7 days prior to the event. Then you want to follow up with them. So you're going to call right in and ask them whether or not they got their and ask them whether or not they got your press release. So this way you can have person-to-person contact with this person. I've done a lot for my charities that I told you about, and I do that just free of will, from my heart. And all these people know me, so I'll call them up. Like I was just talking to on the weekend, I was talking to the assignment editor over at City TV, Louis, and I said, "Hey, Louis, it's Teresa. Hey, how you doing? Louis, did you get my press release on such and such?" And he's going, "No." He said, "Your name would have stood out." So I said, "Well, why don't you just search for such and such?" "I don't see it here." "Louis, it's okay. Can I send it to you again right now?" I kept him on the phone till he got it. Or if they're busy and they've got to go assign a camera or whatever, and they'll tell you, sometimes they can be a little gruff, it's okay. Just say, "Hey, when you get my email, do you mind shooting me back an email that says, 'Got it'?" Now, there's 2 great things here. First of all, you do know that they got it. And B, it's amazing the information you're going to get, because usually they have those electronic signatures. I have gotten their direct line right to them in the newsroom, never mind the main switchboard, and Brandy with an eye that, God bless her, she's just right out of school or whatever, but she's doing her best not to send your phone call through. So you usually get their direct line. You usually get their email address right to them. You get their exact title. And even the spelling of their names. Make sure that when you're talking to them, you ask them how to spell their names, because it's a big turnoff. You know, it's a vanity thing, I know, but in the media, it's hammered into us that names must be spelled properly. And think of it: if you finally get yourself in the media, don't you want your name spelled properly? So the same thing goes to these people that actually do these jobs, they want their name spelled properly too. So a little hint for you there. Ask them, can you send it back? Saying, got it, and then see what you get back, because sometimes you'll get back their electronic signature. So you want to send it out and then follow up, leave it a couple of days, and then follow up again. You follow up the night before your event, and if you hear, you know what, it's not for us, we're going to pass, you graciously say thank you, and then you start planning your next attack, your next media battle and attack 2 to 3 months later with a different hook and angle. And if you remain very courteous and very nice on the phone, but you must also be a little bit forceful. They don't like milquetoast. They don't like, I'm so sorry to bother you. They want somebody to say, hi, my name is such and such, and I've got an event to tell you about. Have you got a few seconds to chat? Okay, an elevator speech, really fast. Have your facts down. Practice it out loud. Go into the bathroom. Practice in your car if you want these days. We all have Bluetooth, so it's not uncommon for somebody to be going down a highway talking to themselves in their car. Now we all know they're talking on Bluetooth. Practice it. Get that elevator speech down. It can be no more than 20 to 30 seconds. And then ask them if that is a good fit for their television station viewers, a good fit for their radio station listeners, a good fit for their readers, newspaper, magazines. So that's what you want to do. And they'll either say, well, maybe or whatever. That means you got put into a file. So make sure that you follow up. There's been a lot of people that have gone to PR school, and they just think it's okay to send that press release out. I just gave you an example of me who personally knows a lot of these assignment editors, and they didn't even see my press release because I'm getting 500 or 600 of them. So just a word of advice for you there. So that's it for now. Carolyn, it's time for us to do our contest.
Well, actually, there's one quick question here. Ash, I see that you've asked a question, but I asked for clarification on it. You asked for somebody's number. Did we? I'm waiting for a response. You know what, Ash, I'm going to unmute you for a quick second, just so we cover that. Oh, you asked another one. Hold on 1 second. Lewis? Did you mention something about she says, what's Lewis's number?
You know, Ash, I've spent the last 10 to 12 years building my media list, and I'm afraid that's something that I'm not going to give out right now. I hope you understand. Besides, it's going to take me quite a bit to go and find it, and we've got to keep going on. I happen to know CTV's off by heart. I just don't have his on me right now. I'm sorry.
Just so you know, Ash went ha, ha, ha. So he obviously knows, but you know what, Ash, good for you for at least asking. I really, appreciate that you're putting it out there. You got to ask, right?
Good for Ash. That's the way you got to do it. Absolutely.
Got to ask. And I think that's a really important point, just to kind of review that, Teresa, is that when you are calling calling them, you want to be confident. It's really important to come across as confident. You know what you're talking about, and you're right. They don't have a lot of time, so get to your point. Say what you have to say. Make it, as Teresa said, in 20 to 30 seconds. Make sure you practice it. It's solid. Practice on other people. It's so important because really you want to leave a strong impact, so they're going and looking for that press release from you, and they're going and getting your information, and they're wanting to follow up with you. So I think that's great. So let's go back, and we're going to do our hook. So
yes,
Teresa,
so
I know
contest.
I'm going to go back to the slides. Give me 1 second. Oh, I went too fast. 1 second. So Teresa had picked a number, and she texted it over to me with information. So we've got someone that we're going to do our media hook with. So number 3, who is Deborah Clark. Deborah, I'm going to unmute you, and Teresa is going to take over and work with you to find your media hook.
So this is great. Deborah, congratulations, and everybody please hang on. And Ash, you never know which numbers I'll find in the next little while. I aim to please. So Deborah, first of all, tell me the name of your company and what it is you think your hook is.
Let's just make sure. Deborah, can you hear us? You're unmuted. Deborah? I'm not sure if she realizes she's unmuted. Let's see here. Deborah, can you hear us? Unmute your phone or maybe talk into your speaker or your phone because I can barely hear you. She's got a hand up. Can you hear us, Deborah? I see your hand up, but I've unmuted you. Can you hear us? I'm not sure why this isn't working because I've unmuted her. And are you talking into your phone, love, or did you mute your phone by chance? Just got a question here. Give me 1 second here, Teresa. Let me see if I can figure out what's happening. She may not have a mic on her laptop or computer. Deborah's having tech issues. She says, hold on for 1 second.
Well, she can email it in. She'll just have to be brief. That's all.
Do you want to email? Okay, so here's what you do. If you're having some technical, and I'm not on the phone. Okay, so Deborah, do me a favor. Right where you said you're having technical issues, email the answer to the question that Teresa asked about what you think your media hook is. Just keep it really short. I'll ask the question.
Give me the name of your company, Deborah.
Yeah, let's start with that first.
And what it is that you think might be your hook, and I'll problem solve here.
Okay, type it in, Deborah.
Now, in the meantime, while Deborah is typing, I want you to take a look at other people that are with us tonight. Take a look. Can you put back my press release, the very first page, the Bob Proctor press release, Carolyn, if you would, please, hon. There we go. I want you to take a look at this, folks, because this is where we're going to talk about the hook. So this was the event that they wanted to do for the Nanny Angel Network. And the Nanny Angel Network is a group that provides nannies for women that are going through cancer treatments. The general manager and CEO of a company that I guess hires nannies out, she ended up with breast cancer, and in the course of her treatment realized there was a lot of women not showing up for their chemo treatments, and apparently become very close in chemo, and she was asking them, they would show up, after a couple of days, hey, where were you on Wednesday? I thought you were supposed to be here, and I couldn't find child care, and so they missed their chemo treatment. Can you imagine this? This just blows my brain apart. So she decided to start a charitable arm called the Nanny Angel Network, and she would provide free of cost nannies to women undergoing, they couldn't afford nanny care while they were undergoing their cancer treatment. So they decided, the people up with the good hearts decided to put together an event of 4 outstanding speakers where we could all come and grow and learn as entrepreneurs and business people. And in the meantime, all the funds would go to the Nanny Angel Network. So when we sat down around the kitchen table to strategize about month 5 out of this, they were saying that they felt that their hook was the event itself. And I tried to tell them that it wasn't. And then they tried to say, no, it's all of our speakers. They're phenomenal. And I said, yes, they are, but these speakers come through town once or twice a year. So for the media, they're just going to go, oh, Bob Proctor's coming, who cares? Or John Gray, well, we just saw him on, when it was running Oprah last week, so everybody in Canada saw him, so we're not going to be interested in him. So, anyway, they pushed and pushed and pushed, and I agreed that I would, I kept telling them their hook was the Nanny Angel Network. So I said, okay, I will send out a press release, and we will do it on the event with Bob Proctor being available for interviews. That'll be our hook. And we got everything all set up and everything, and I sent it out to my media universe, and it was to everyone, and we got nothing, absolutely nothing. So about a month to go, I asked if we could go with what I felt the media hook should be, and the hook was the Nanny Angel Network and the good work that they are doing. And oh, by the way, we are doing an event where all the funds are going to go. We got Canada AM, Globe and Mail. I had Breakfast Television on the line. They were very, very close to doing something. Unfortunately, the head of this charity decided that there weren't enough tickets sold, which was really a tragedy because there were so many people that came out of the woodwork after they canceled this event. Even though we had the media in place and all the rest, they all wanted to buy the tickets, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?" So, it was too bad that it never happened. But the media went on. I got them on Canada AM, and so the good work of the Nanny Angel Network was still out there. Unfortunately, the event didn't go. So that is a prime example of how sometimes a company product service event aren't good enough, you've got to find a hook that can bring you in. And had that worked, had they not canceled that event, we would have gone on, and she would have gone on, you know, whatever breakfast show I got her on. She would have explained it. And by the way, this weekend at the Sheraton Toronto Airport, we have got 4 phenomenal speakers. Folks, we need your help. Come and learn, and then know that all your funds are going to go to giving women with cancer a chance to go to their treatments because their nanny costs are going to be covered. So, you know, it was a back-end way of doing it, but still this is the charitable angle that I was talking about. So, Carolyn, go ahead. What has Deb emailed into us?
Okay, so Deb was having some technical difficulty. She couldn't even hear anything. She says, I'm on the telephone now. Okay, so, Deborah, can you hear us? I've unmuted you. You can answer.
Hello.
Hi, there you are. Yay!
Hello. So I work for OfficeGate Canada. We are a business service center, brand new to the Markham area. And our hook is that we can help save entrepreneurs money by helping them house their business or run their business, giving them the offices and the tools that they need. And the hook would be going out there and finding those people who are attentive to that message.
Okay. So, Deborah, you've got some challenges because your idea isn't unique. You know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I'm going to have my media hat on now, and I'm a very loving person. I really am, but the media isn't, and so I must act as a media person. So there's an awful lot of businesses out there. Is yours unique in any way?
We own our technology, so everything that we have is proprietary, and when you actually do business with us, you have access to an online software that will give you CRM. It will give you email. It'll give you all the tools you need to run your business without actually owning them. And that is something that we give freely, and it's called Virtual 2.0 software. So you can have a virtual office, you can have a dedicated office, you can pick and choose when you want to use a meeting room, and we have 1,600 locations worldwide.
1,600 locations.
Yes.
But we need to get word out about the office in Markham, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right. Because the media would turn around and ask you to buy a commercial, your technology is lovely. It could be a hook, but I don't feel it would get you a lot. You could try it on that technology and see what you got. You could try it on BNN. Business News Network. You could try it on the business magazines. Go on to Rogers Media. See what sort of business magazines they have. Are there any apps that are affiliated with Office Space Canada? Any apps?
Yes, there is, and it's with your membership. You have 24/7 access to any kind of meeting rooms at the 1,600 locations worldwide.
To the meeting rooms. Okay.
You can book them online whenever you want.
And there's an app to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there is a show on CP24 called App Central that you might be able to do something. That's a CTV-owned property. So you could try them and see whether or not. Never underestimate or undervalue the power of your local newspapers. Rogers Cable 10, the community channels. I've always said that any media is good media. They are nuggets of gold. You can put them on your website, although I have to tell you, I tried to get, when I did Canada AM on my book, I went on there and I was all excited and I called the archivist and she said, well, what use will you be using this for? And I said, well, I want to put it on my website. She said, we won't allow you. So I haven't done it yet, But what you can do is you can put on your website as seen on, and then logo, so Canada AM, logo CTV Morning Live Vancouver, logo Saskatoon Tribune. You know, it's a bunch of, like, when you start putting all of their logos and the names, your media credentials give you credentials. That's why, you know, the media cred is, it's nice to get, because it's almost like in some circles where people are going to go, oh my gosh, you did something on W5? Well, my gosh, you guys must be really great. You know what I mean? So it's something that is worth looking at, any of these smaller newspapers. Now, I think, Deborah, to be very honest with you, I think the only way you can go is from a charitable angle. And I would try to source out from a charity somewhere, someone that would need your office help, and pitch it from there. So you would have to do a donation to this charity where you are helping a bunch of, like, let's say, for instance, a women's shelter. Maybe you could contact some of them. Maybe there's a few of them that are thinking of getting companies going. I would imagine some of their alumni, once they have moved on after getting help at these shelters, maybe they're in touch with them. Maybe some of them have started companies. Maybe they're thinking of starting companies. You could team up mentors and entrepreneurship people that could maybe mentor somebody out of a woman's shelter. Perhaps maybe you could deal with the Salvation Army to help men that are down on their luck that just need a helping hand. Do you see where I'm going on this, Deborah? Is there anything that resonates there with you?
Yes, we have contacted Venture Lab, which takes entrepreneurs.
Perfect.
It's an incubator program, and we're offering space for them to use
There
free
you go.
of charge.
Perfect.
As well, Frank Scarpetti's mayoral bid, where we want him to be able to use our location while he's watching the results and have all his people surrounded by.
Just so you know, the media, there are rules in place that if you give any media information or any, so let's say I'm a television station or a newspaper and I have put out an article on John Tory, I have to also give the exact same amount of time and space to the other leading candidates of Doug Ford and Olivia Chow and anybody else that might be out there. If you start to look at the way the media works, you will see that everything in the political realm, it all has to be even. And they actually have people that are they look at what they do, and they will clock it. They will. So it all has to be done easy. So no, Frank Scarpetti won't work. Although that's lovely. That's great. I really like this Venture Labs, the incubator. I think that's huge. If you could find a story within the Venture Labs of someone that's doing great or is about to break through, or you can spin a story around them and then you can mention how you had given them the free space. So I think in order for you to get in the media, that's the way it's going to be, is through the Venture Labs. I like that one a lot.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. All the best.
Thank you very much.
Wow, that was fun, Teresa. I wish we had more time to do everybody, because I'm like, I want to hear more. I'm like, I'm just like taking notes vigorously. I hope everybody's been taking notes, because I'm going like crazy. I'm running out of paper, which never happens, and it's really, really exciting. So it's around 8:09. I'm going to put it out there if there's any questions left from anybody, or you have anything on what Teresa was talking about the hook, how she was describing how to approach things with Deborah. Does anyone have any questions around that you'd like to ask Teresa right now? Again, please raise your hand. If you're having technical difficulties, you can send me a message and I can read the question on your behalf. Deborah says, you rock. Thank you for the opportunity. She's very excited. Deborah, you're very welcome. I'm excited to hear about what you do, and there's, as you know, charities are amazing, so it's exciting. Our pleasure.
I think they will bite on that one, Carolyn and Deborah.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that if it's the right story and it's pitched the right way, I really feel that they will bite. Sometimes the press release, people, is just it's a vehicle. It's not going to get you the story. It's not going to get you on the media, but you need it to get that first step. You know what I mean? So it's going to be in that verbal pitch that you do to the various assignment editors that will get you there.
Well, Deborah, Teresa can't say this to you, but I can. What you might want to do is get your boss to pay for you to take her course so that you could help create that pitch and create the whole program around it for Markham and the rest of your company to get out in the media. Just an idea. Anyways, what's Deborah's number? Ash comes back and says, forget Louie's number from City TV. What's Deborah's number? Oh, don't say that out loud. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so
with your messages. Anyway, so let's move on from here. So, Teresa, I have one question to kind of close up from here.
Certainly.
Is there one last piece of advice that you would like to give our audience, or a suggestion, or anything like that that can really support them in getting out to the media?
Yeah, be persistent. Don't get discouraged. Don't take it personally. Sometimes the sun, the moon, and the stars do have to line up in order for things to happen in the media. We have a great time coming up, which is January, when they are really hungry for stories. So, you know, if you have, if you've got an idea, start positioning it and start getting it ready to go for January, or if you want to give it a shot right now, maybe it's Christmas oriented, who knows? Just don't lose a faith in yourself or the confidence in yourself. Don't take it personally. It's just the media. If you ever get anything, it's amazing. When you do, you feel like you're on top of the world. And I've been on both sides because, as you know, I do quite a bit of work for charity and that sort of thing. So, sometimes I've been a little bummed. There's been also times when, I was working for the Canadian Center for Youth Awareness as a volunteer doing their media for a beautiful event that was to it was a very heartbreaking event. Let's just put it that way. We don't need all the details. I had every camera coming, everybody, from the national networks on the way down. Louie at City TV, Ash, was coming. Everybody was coming, CP24, CTV, CBC, Global TV. I had 3 newspapers coming. I had 2 radio stations. And it was going to be amazing. And I had sat back and I went, yes, I've done my job. I've done my job properly. Do you know, that morning there was a huge breaking news event in Toronto. I think I got 2 TV cameras. That was all that they could scramble because everybody just went to that breaking news story. So that breaking news story broke my heart. Don't let it break yours. It's okay. As I told you, any media is good media. I do want to address Ash's second part of his question about the TV talk shows. You will find the reception with Canada AM very good. Breakfast television on City TV is the #1 rated show, so they're a little bit harder to get into, but persistence might get you something there. Marilyn Dennis has been an absolute enigma to me, and that means, if I'm even saying that correctly, Marilyn Dennis is the worst, hardest person to get on her show. Marilyn's lovely. I knew her in our early days in Calgary, because that's where we're both from. I know Marilyn, and I have lost my contact info for her because that would have been great, but I have never been able to get anybody on Marilyn Dennis's show. So if you folks ever get yourself on Marilyn's show, would you please let me know? Like, the protocol that they have right now is that you phone into a general line, almost like a viewer's mailbox. What did you like about our show or whatever? And if you'd like to pitch a story, blah, blah, blah. And I've never been phoned back, ever, ever, ever. The social, you have to be very current and something that really fits into their demographic, which is 16 to 34-ish. They're very, very young. But anything to do with technology, Deborah, startups, that sort of thing, you could, the social might be a good one for you. What else have we got out there that's Canadian? Help me think right now. City Line with Tracy Moore. Unless you are home deck, food, or home deck or food, You're probably not going to get on City Line. But if you are, you go through City TV. And I hope you all have your pens handy, because I just found the number for City TV's assignment desk. So here we go. This is Louis' number. Well, Louis only works a certain amount of times. But anyway, City TV, this is only for news. So it's not for any other property, but just for news, 416-764-7435. And their email is mediareleases.to. So mediareleases.to@citynews.ca, and that will get you right to their assignment desk. So there you go, Ash. I think we got everything all answered for you. And Deborah, we found a hook. And I'd just like to throw it back to you, Carolyn. It has been great to work with you all, and I really hope that I was able to help in some small way.
Oh my gosh, Teresa, you've helped in so many ways. We've had so many people come on a little bit later. So just so you guys know, as I mentioned earlier, this is being recorded. So I will send an email to everyone with follow-up from this so you can access it. It'll be put on my website once I get everything in place on supermomentrepreneur.com. So you can go back and listen to it. And if I can work it, the slideshow will be up there as well, so you can take information down. I just have a note here quickly from Deborah Clark, and says, Rock It Promotions has Marilyn D's ear.
Oh, really? Well, you guys have my email.
Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah. If you could send that info to me at tkruze@rogers.com, I would love it. That is great. And listen, folks, I gave you the number to all of CTV's properties, and I've given you City TV's news number. Please don't ever mention my name. You know, those are the numbers I've given you are a matter of public knowledge, so everybody you know, can have them. They're just a little hard to find sometimes, but don't ever say Teresa gave me this number, because they'll go, who?
Teresa who?
So,
We don't know.
Yeah, Teresa who?
Teresa who? I don't know who you're talking about. We of course
That's
will
right.
not do that.
But that will cripple you right out of the gate. So don't do it. Just carry on. Like I said, confident voice, elevator speech that you have practiced, and see whether or not they bite. And if they don't bite, just lick your wounds and refocus, come up with a new hook, and go at them again within 2 to 3 months.
Teresa, I'm actually going to ask this question. I know we're running a little over time, but this is a really good question from Ash, and I'm sorry I didn't think of it. This is amazing. He says, so once they bought your hook, now you're invited to the show or the media. Now what do I do? How do I prepare to actually be on the media? And I'm sure that's a whole course that you put together, but can you give us maybe 3 tips on what we should do or prepare when that situation arises?
Absolutely. You know, when I had the cameras turned on me, when I, you know, it was always me asking the questions. What do you mean? I have to answer them now? How do I put 3 words together that make sense? This is what I tell people in my workshop and my classes, because I also do on-camera training, I do media prep work and all the rest. This is what I say to people. And I did this the morning I walked on to Canada AM at 6:45 or whenever it was, some god-awful time in the morning. I closed my eyes in the green room. I took 2 deep breaths, and I said, no one knows more about what I am about to talk about at this moment in time than I do. So what they're going to do is they're going to ask me a few questions. I'm going to answer them because I am an expert and I know what I'm talking about. Don't ever, ever do cheat notes. Don't ever, ever memorize anything. Don't ever, ever put them on little blue cards. Don't ever do any of that, because they will know. And you will come off as someone that is not genuine, and your answers just won't resonate, and it won't be a good interview. So that's for television, and really that works for radio and newspaper and all the rest. Television can be a little bit more alarming, though, because not only do you have to make sense, but you sort of have to look good, and all the cameras are there, and the lights are there, and it's bright, and there's this beautiful host looking at you, and you're scared. So anyway, the deep breaths, no one knows more than what I know about at this very moment than me. You want to wear, it used to be a rule that you could wear black or white on television. You can wear them now. The technology is there. But splashes of color really work well. A man's business suit is awesome. You don't want to do a wild tie because sometimes some of the patterns will buzz on air. If you know the pattern called houndstooth, sort of like a real plaid, a very elegant traditional plaid, try to stay away from those because they buzz. Anything to do with plaid. You're looking for solid colors that, like, you wouldn't want to go on there in a canary yellow suit if you were a lady and it was spring. Even though it may be very current, you wouldn't want to do that because you're going to look like Big Bird. So, I mean, we're all trying our best to look our best, and you want to be that expert. So, I mean, just business dress. Nowadays, it's not as many suits as it is this dressy casual. If you're coming to do television, they'll do the makeup for you. If you are doing newspaper or whatever, men, you don't have to worry about makeup. Ladies, yes, please make sure that you've got a lipstick on, a little light dusting of powder if you're not into the foundation and all that sort of stuff. I'm not either. I'm a mascara and lipstick girl. How the heck did I ever get into TV? Because, you know, sometimes my makeup on, I used to forget. I'd go out after anchoring Sports Desk on TSN, and I would go and grab some groceries, and I would scare little children in the produce aisle. And it was just like, oh, geez, I left my makeup on. So, you know, you don't have to worry about how thick everything is, just a light dusting of powder. Make sure you put a lip on and mascara, and make sure your eyes are lined underneath, but only with a pencil, and make sure you smudge it. Ash, for men and anybody else that is out there right now, you do not have to worry about makeup at all. If you need it for television, somebody will be there to put it on you. For newspaper and all the rest, you don't have to. So as far as speaking, we've covered that. As far as what you wear, we've covered that, and your makeup. Carolyn, is there anything else?
Wow, that's phenomenal. And Ash, thank you so much for asking that question, because that's an amazing answer to all of us, and it's so important to know when you're going on media what's important. And you're right, you don't want to go too bright with your colors. You know, you do want something that's a little more calm, but still has some splash in it. And I think that's great advice, Teresa. And we so appreciate having you on here. I'm so excited. We're going to do so much more. Now, you know what, guys? If you're interested to find out more about what Teresa's doing, you know, she does have some amazing courses that are out there that you can take. As I said, on the left-hand side, I've just brought up a new slide that has her information. You can go to her website and check out her courses and what she does, get signed up for something like that. So again, Teresa, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. We so appreciate your time and your knowledge, and we look forward to having you back on again sometime soon.
The pleasure was all mine, and thanks so much, folks, for coming aboard this evening, and all the best to you in your media ventures. And I just hope that everything works out really well for you.
Thank you. Now, before you go, I have some shout-outs for some upcoming events for people that is great to network. Networking is so important being in business, and also you never know who you're going to bump into media-wise at some of these events, so it's always good. So we have one on Thursday, October the 9th at Business Wealth Summit. It's an all-day event. You can check out the website. That's right there, www.businesswealthsummit.com. And then we also have, if you want ladies or gentlemen to have some fun, the Pamper Fest at the Old Mill that's coming up on October 15th. That's in the evening. You can check out the website here, www.pamperfest.ca. Now, Monday, October the 20th, an amazing lady by the name of Lee Mitchell is having her Women in Biz Passion to Profit Conference in Vancouver, BC. So I know all of you are from Toronto, but if you know anybody in Vancouver, I've been to Lee's events. She supports me. I support her. She's a phenomenal woman, and she's got an amazing conference coming up with some phenomenal speakers, and our great Teresa Kruze will be in Vancouver on October 20th. So you'll get a chance to see her again. So if you know anybody, please do pass that on. And let's support Lee in having a successful, amazing event in Vancouver. So on that note, I just saw one. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Guys, thank you again for being on here with us, for asking questions, for participating. Teresa, thank you so much. Guys, check out Teresa's website. See what else she's up to. Get her book. It's a phenomenal book. It's a great read. And it really does provide some amazing information to support you in venturing out and having your business and having that success. So good night, everyone, and have an amazing rest of your week. Oh, one quick thing. Sorry. Also, to make sure, I'm going to be sending out an email, so respond back. If you're not on my email list, we have some other amazing webinars coming up, one on October 21st about how to write your story and how to talk on stage. Phenomenal speakers. So I'm going to be sending that information out probably starting tomorrow. And you want to make sure you're on the list because we're going to have one every single month after that. And boy, do I have a lineup of great speakers just like Teresa. So guys, have a great night, have a great week, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
So long for now.